Because what I'm about to say might just be the message your 2026 self has been begging you to hear. Look around, people are tired, distracted, chasing comfort instead of purpose. Every year they say, next year will be my year. Time doesn't care about our promises. It keeps moving while most of us stay asleep. This speech, right now, is your wake-up call. Not the kind that pulls you out of bed, but the kind that pulls you out of average. If you listen till the end, promise something will shift inside you. A spark, a voice that whispers it's time, because 2026 won't change your life. You will. So don't just hear my words, feel them. Let this be the moment you stop being who you've been and start becoming who you were meant to be. You know what's crazy? Most people think they have time. They say things like, hey, start next month. I'll get serious after the holidays. 2026 is my year. But listen, 2026 isn't your year unless you start making it your year right now. Time isn't waiting for you. It's not slowing down so you can catch your breath. The clock doesn't care how tired you are, how many times you failed, or what's standing in your way. It just keeps ticking. And every tick is a choice. Every moment is either moving you closer to your potential or keeping you trapped in your comfort zone. I want you to feel that. I want you to realize how many times you hit the snooze button, not just on your alarm clock, but on your life. Because deep down, you know you're meant for more. There's a version of you that's stronger, sharper, more alive, but you've been sleeping on that person. You've been busy surviving instead of designing. You wake up, go through the motions, react to problems, deal with people, get home, crash, and repeat. And you call that living. But that's not living, that's existing. That's autopilot. That's what happens when you forget who you are and what you're capable of. I've seen people who think they're stuck, and I've seen what happens when they finally wake up. The moment they make a decision, a real decision, something changes in their eyes, you can almost see the fire come back. Because they realize, I'm not waiting for a new year to save me. I'm the one who changes everything. See, the gap between where you are and where you want to be isn't as big as you think. It's not 10 years away. It's one choice away. Decision to stop letting fear dictate your pace. One moment where you finally stop negotiating with your excuses. And let's be real, excuses sound reasonable until they rob you of your future. You say, I don't have time, but you find hours to scroll through your phone. You say, I don't have energy, but you stay up late watching people who already made it. You say, it's not the right time. But the truth is, right time doesn't exist. The right time is the moment you decide to wake up. If you keep waiting for perfect conditions, you'll wake up one day in 2026 realizing nothing's changed. Same job, same habits, same mindset, just another year gone. That's the pain I want to save you from, the pain of regret, because regret doesn't show up loud, it shows up quiet. It whispers, you could have done more, you could have tried harder, you could have started sooner. So here's what I want you to do right now, not later. Take a breath. Look around. Everything you want, everything you dream of is already waiting on you to step up. Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready. Right now, you don't need more motivation. You need a reason. Something that hits your soul so deeply it burns away your hesitation. Maybe it's your family. Maybe it's your future. Maybe it's proving to yourself that you were never meant to settle. Ever that reason is, lock into it. Because once you have a reason, discipline becomes natural. You don't have to push yourself. You're pulled by something bigger than comfort. And let me tell you, you start operating from that place, that hunger, that urgency. Life begins to move differently. You attract people who are on fire like you. You see opportunities where others see obstacles. You stop needing permission to rise because you finally understand you were never meant to stay asleep in the first place. You were built to grow, built to create, built to lead. That's why comfort feels so uncomfortable after a while, because your soul knows you're made for more. I want you to think about this. If you keep doing what you've always done, you'll keep getting what you've always gotten. So what's it going to be? Another year of almost? Another year of someday? Or are you going to wake up today and say, enough, I'm done sleeping on my potential, because here's the truth, 2026 is already on its way. You can either wait for it or you can meet it prepared, focused, and alive. You can be the person who says, wish I started, or the one who says, I'm glad I did. Every morning from now on, when you wake up, remind yourself, this is not just another day. This is a chance, a small piece of time to move closer to the person you were born to be. Waste it. Don't drift through it. Don't let your potential go unused another year, because one day you'll look back and realize that everything changed the moment you decided to wake up. And that moment is right now. You know, people talk about motivation like it's the secret to everything. They say, I just need to get motivated, or once I feel inspired, I'll start. But let's be honest, motivation is a mood, not a muscle. It's unreliable. It fades. You can't build a future on something that disappears the moment life gets uncomfortable. You don't need to be motivated. You need to be disciplined, because discipline is what keeps you moving when motivation runs out. Discipline is what separates those who dream from those who do. The truth is, anyone can feel fired up for a few minutes. Anyone can write down goals, make vision boards, listen to speeches. The ones who actually change their lives are the ones who follow through long after the excitement is gone. They show up when it's raining, when they're tired, when no one's clapping, when no one's watching. They do the boring, unsexy, repetitive work that success demands. And that's why they win. See, your brain is always looking for comfort. It wants the easy route, the instant gratification, the dopamine hit. But discipline doesn't care about feelings. It's built on commitment. It's saying, I don't care if I feel like it or not. I'm doing it anyway. Because that's how you grow. You don't grow when it's easy. You grow when it's hard, and you keep going anyway. Think about it. Every person you admire, every success story you've ever heard is rooted in discipline. Athletes don't wait to feel ready before training. Entrepreneurs don't wait for perfect conditions to start. Leaders don't wait for approval to take action. They move, they learn, adapt, they fall, they get up, and they move again over and over. That's discipline in motion. And you might say, but it's hard. Of course it's hard. That's the point. If it were easy, everyone would do it. The reason discipline feels heavy is because it's supposed to. It's a test of how much you actually want it. Most people give up not because they can't do it, but because they expect it to feel good. Growth doesn't feel good. Transformation isn't comfortable. You don't build strength and comfort. You build it under pressure. The difference between people who stay stuck and people who take off is this: they stop negotiating with themselves. They stop saying, just 5 more minutes, or I'll start tomorrow. They stop making excuses sound logical. They understand that discipline is freedom. The freedom to look in the mirror and say, I did what I said I'd do. You know that feeling when you follow through, when you didn't want to go to the gym, but you did. When you didn't want to make the call, but you picked up the phone anyway. That feeling isn't motivation, it's pride, it's power, it's proof that you're in control. That's what builds momentum. That's what builds self-trust. Because self-trust is everything. If you don't trust yourself to do what you say you'll do, you can't build confidence. Confidence doesn't come from talking about your goals. It comes from keeping your promises to yourself. Every time you choose discipline, you're proving to yourself that you can be counted on. And when you can count on you, you become unstoppable. I know some of you are thinking, I've tried before. I get disciplined for a few days and then I fall off. Let me tell you something. Off doesn't mean you failed. It means you're human. The difference is what you do next. Most people stay down. But the disciplined person, they get back up immediately. They don't wait for Monday. They don't wait for the new month. They reset right now, because discipline isn't perfection, it's persistence. You have to decide what kind of person you want to be. The kind who only acts when it's convenient, the kind who acts because it's necessary, the kind who chases temporary motivation, or the kind who builds unbreakable habits, because your habits are the foundation of your future. If you build the habit of quitting when it's hard, we'll keep proving you're right. But if you build the habit of showing up no matter what, life will eventually have to reward you. It's law. Effort compounds. The work you put in today might not show results tomorrow, but it's stacking. It's building pressure. One day, that consistency will explode into opportunity and people will call you lucky. But you'll know it wasn't luck. It was discipline. You've got to rewire your mind to crave the grind, not the glory. To find satisfaction in effort, not outcome. To fall in love with the process, not just the result. Because when you master discipline, you stop waiting to feel inspired, you become the inspiration. Every morning when you wake up, you have 2 choices. You can be driven by your emotions or you can be driven by your vision. Emotions change, vision endures. If you want 2026 to be different, if you want it to finally be your year, then stop chasing feelings and start building foundations. Let motivation decide your life. Let discipline define it. Because discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you're destined to become. You ever notice how your energy changes depending on who you're around? Some people light you up, make you want to be better, push you forward. And others, they drain you. They make you doubt yourself, make you feel small, make you question your dreams. The truth is, your environment is stronger than your willpower. You can have the biggest goals, the strongest desire, but if you're surrounded by the wrong energy, it'll slowly poison your mindset. That's why I tell people, if you want to change your life, start by changing your circle. Because here's what happens. Your brain starts adapting to whatever you normalize. If you spend your days around people who complain, gossip, settle for less, make excuses, you'll start doing the same. You'll think it's normal to drift through life. You'll think it's normal to survive instead of thrive. But if you surround yourself with people who think bigger, move faster, and expect more out of life, you'll rise just to keep up. You won't even realize it, but their energy, their drive, their standards will pull you higher. It's like heat. You can't stand next to a fire and not feel warmer. And you can't stand next to greatness and not feel that pull toward your own potential. That's why your environment matters more than motivation. Because no matter how much self-discipline you build, if you keep feeding your mind low-frequency conversations, you'll burn out. You'll start shrinking to fit the people who refuse to grow. Some of you have dreams so big, you're trying to share them with people who think small. You tell them your ideas and they laugh, they doubt, they warn you, and then you start to question yourself. Not because you're wrong, because you're letting the wrong voices influence your vision. Stop looking for validation from people who haven't done what you're trying to do. Stop expecting support from those who are threatened by your ambition. Not everyone will understand your path, and that's okay. It's not their job to. You've got to protect your energy like your life depends on it, because it does. Energy is everything. Who you talk to, what you watch, you listen to, all of it is shaping you. Every conversation is either feeding your fire or putting it out. And too many people are letting their fire die slowly because they're afraid to outgrow others. Listen, you don't have to cut people off with anger. You just have to outgrow them with peace. You don't have to prove yourself, argue, or convince anyone. Just keep moving. Growth will do the talking. And the right people, the ones who believe in your vision, see your effort, who challenge you to be better, they'll find you. Because success has a frequency, and when you start operating on that level, you attract others who are doing the same. When you start walking differently, some people will think you've changed, and they're right. You're supposed to change, you're supposed to evolve. You're supposed to shed the version of yourself that needed permission to rise. You don't need permission anymore. You need alignment. Seen people change their entire lives simply by changing their circle. One conversation with the right person can awaken something inside you that's been asleep for years. One mentor, one friend, one moment of truth can shift your trajectory forever. Because when you're around people who think big, who act with purpose, who refuse to settle, you start realizing how much more is possible for you too. You start to see that excellence isn't an accident, it's a standard. That success isn't luck, it's proximity, and that potential is contagious. You can't help but level up when you're surrounded by people who are living at a higher standard. So ask yourself, who are you spending time with? Who do you call when things go wrong? Do you share your ideas with? Are they cheering you on or pulling you back? Are they helping you grow or keeping you comfortable? Because every single person in your life is either a bridge or a barrier. A bridge that takes you closer to your best self, or a barrier that holds you where you are. If you want to wake up for 2026, you've got to be ruthless about what and who you allow into your space. Not because you're better than anyone, because you're done living small, you're done living by other people's limits. You're done being surrounded by mediocrity and calling it loyalty. Your dreams deserve better company. When you upgrade your circle, you upgrade your standards. You upgrade your standards, you upgrade your results. And when you upgrade your results, you start inspiring others to do the same. That's how the cycle of growth begins. It's not just about you getting better, it's about becoming the kind of person who lifts others higher just by being around them. So from this day on, be intentional, build your environment like your future depends on it, because it does. Surround yourself with people who see the best in you even when you don't. People who tell you the truth, not what you want to hear. People who remind you what you're capable of when you start to forget. Because when your circle expands your vision instead of shrinking it, you stop playing small, you start living wide awake. That's when your life begins to rise to meet the level of your potential. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine it's already 2026, not 2 years away, right now. Picture the version of you who finally made it happen. The person who kept showing up when it was hard. The person who didn't give up when no one was watching. See their face, feel their energy. That version of you already exists. They're just waiting for you to catch up. You see, the biggest mistake most people make is thinking success is something you chase. It's not. Success is something you become. The world doesn't give you what you want. It gives you who you are. So if you want 2026 to look different, you've got to start showing up like the person who already owns that future. Because when you visualize it with absolute clarity and start acting from that vision, the universe begins to align with you. Most people think visualization is just daydreaming. They picture the car, the money, the lifestyle, and think that's enough. But real visualization isn't about fantasy, it's about identity. It's about stepping into the mindset of your future self and asking, how would that version of me think? How would they move? How would they speak? What habits would they never tolerate? Then you start living that way now. You walk, talk, and decide like that person even before the results show up. Because here's the truth. You don't get your goals, you get your standards, you rise to the level of what you're willing to demand from yourself. If you keep thinking like the person who's struggling, you'll keep recreating struggle. But when you shift your identity, everything else follows. Your energy changes, your decisions change, the way you spend your time changes. When you visualize clearly, you start building emotional muscle. You stop waiting for life to get better and start creating it from the inside out. The mind can't tell the difference between what's vividly imagined and what's real. That's why elite athletes visualize every play before it happens. That's why visionaries see what doesn't exist yet. They don't wait for evidence, they create it. So let me ask you, what does your 2026 look like? Not just in your career or bank account, but in your spirit. How do you feel when you wake up? What kind of energy fills your mornings? What does your environment look like? Who's standing beside you? If you can't see, you've got to make that vision so clear it pulls you out of bed when you're tired, when you're unsure, when no one else believes in it. You can see your future. It gives meaning to your present. Every struggle becomes training. Every challenge becomes fuel. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, how is this shaping me? That shift changes everything. Because instead of reacting to life, you start designing it. But visualization alone isn't enough. You've got to match it with relentless action. You can't just think about your goals. You've got to embody them. Every day, move one step closer. Every morning, remind yourself of who you're becoming. Every night, ask, did I move like my future self today? That question will keep you accountable. It'll strip away distractions and help you focus on what actually matters. You can't manifest a new life while living from the old one. You can't attract abundance while operating from scarcity. You can't become your future self while clinging to the habits of your past. The bridge between visualization and reality is execution. That's where discipline meets vision. The more you live as if your dream is already real, the faster it becomes real, because your brain starts finding ways to make it true. You begin noticing opportunities you used to overlook. You start connecting with people who are aligned with your path. It's not magic, it's awareness. You expand your vision, and suddenly the world expands with it. And yes, it's going to be uncomfortable because growth always feels unnatural at first. You're stepping into a version of yourself that you've never been before. But that discomfort, that's the sign you're evolving. That's the signal you're on the right track. There will be days when you'll doubt it. Days when you'll think the vision is too far, too unrealistic. That's when you remind yourself everything great once looked impossible. Every breakthrough started as an idea someone refused to give up on. You don't need to know how it'll all happen. You just need to know who you're becoming and keep showing up like it's already done. Because the moment you start embodying your vision, your energy changes. People feel it. Life responds to it. You stop chasing and things start flowing toward you because you're finally aligned with who you're meant to be. So as you wake up every morning from this point on, don't just get up to survive another day. Wake up to build your future. Speak your vision out loud, move with certainty, act with intention. Refuse to let your old self run the show. Because 2026 isn't somewhere out there waiting for you. It's already here, waiting inside you. And the moment you decide to live like it's real, your life will rise to meet your vision.